Icelocked here with Nocturne Gaming, and today we're taking a look at how to build and use the receiver. The first step is going to be building the receiver, and to do this you need to find two blueprints. First, the blueprint for the receiver and the blueprint for the antenna. These blueprints can be found by fishing the barrels out of the water while you're hooking basic materials. After that, you'll need to research them on the research table, and you'll need to research the receiver and the antenna using these materials. While you're here, it's a good idea to go ahead and research your battery as well, as you will need this to be able to power the receiver. There are a few material requirements to build our receivers and antennas. So the receiver takes planks, plastic, circuit boards, and hinges, and the antennas take scrap metal, circuit boards, and bolts. You'll also need to build a simple battery. This requires a copper ingot, scrap, and plastic. These are the sets of materials that you'll need to build the full receiver setup. Once we have all of those items, we can build our receiver. We need 3 antennas and a simple battery. Now that we have everything built, we can start by placing our receiver down and putting our battery in it to power it on. The screen will kind of tell you everything that you need to know, but the first step is it requires a higher altitude. So let's turn this off and pick it up. So to place this at a higher altitude, it needs to be at least 1 full wall tile tall before it'll let you move on to the next step. So we'll place it down up here and put our battery back in. And the next step is we need antennas. So let's place our 3 antennas down. And you can see now it says it's too close to the receiver and too close to the other antennas. So let's talk about our spacing now. All right, so I've got a basic setup here to show you the distance you need to have your antennas from your receiver as well as from each other. So we can turn on our receiver here and see that everything's working properly, and you'll know this by having at least 1 blue dot or a green dot on your screen, and that kind of tells you that everything's working properly. So your antennas have to be at least 2 tiles away from the receiver, and this is measured using about this dot on the table, and then you can count your floor tiles away. So you can see that this one works properly. It's actually a little bit more than 2 tiles, but this one right here shows you kind of the bare minimum distance to have the antennas work properly. This can be placed in any formation around the table as long as it meets the spacing requirements, even at weird angles or off to on a diagonal. The other thing we need to pay attention to is the distance between our antennas, and it has to be at least 3.5 tiles between our 2 antennas. So we have 3 tiles marked out and a little bit more on the sides there for the 3.5. This also works in the diagonal fashion, as it's about 2.5 to 3 tiles diagonal for it to work properly. And while we're here, let's talk about our blue and green dots on the receiver. The blue dot is your story location. So as long as you have the receiver dialed into the right coordinates, there should be a blue dot on here. You can check the blue dot coordinate locations by going into your journal or pressing T, and you'll see this number here, 1227 for me, and this is different for everybody. After that, you simply need to dial it in on the receiver using the handle to switch the different numbers and the arrows up and down to change the number for that digit. Now you can see this red dot here. It's saying I'm not actually tracking anything, and once it turns green, we can see that it actually is tracking a story location for us. The other thing you may see on your receiver is green dots, and the green dots indicate a large island nearby. So you can use this to guide you to more resources if you're looking for large islands. I have another basic setup here to show you very quickly the minimum distance that you need to be able to set up your receivers. This is one of the most compact designs that I can really come up with, and it's basically using everything in a straight line with the receiver in the middle here. It is slightly longer on this one here, as it will take that distance to be able to be 3.5 tiles away from your other 2 antennas. Our next setup is showing you some of the other ways you can set up your antennas, and this is just examples. There are a few other things we can do, but first is we can have our antennas actually separated over a gap. The wire will stretch out even over the air, so it doesn't actually have to be connected by floor panels to the receiver. The other thing we can do is place our antennas either one half tile above or below the receiver. So you can see it's just a half tile down. It won't work if it's all the way on the ground or a full tile up or down from it. So it does need to be on relatively the same level, but you can do things like this to save you some space. And as you can see, everything does work just fine with this setup. Our last setup is showing you how to hide the wires from the receiver, as they can be fairly distracting. So as looking around, you can see that our antennas are fairly well hidden. They can be seen, but it's not too obvious. And there's a couple ways to do it. First is by using the walls to our advantage, as the wires can go directly through the walls or even down a wall line. And this will allow you to hide the wires a little bit. And you can see the antenna is working just fine out here. The other option is using the elevation to our advantage to make them kind of go through the floor, which this can be hidden pretty easy with some decorative floor coverings. And this is done by simply having it a half tile below the level of your receiver, and it will basically instantly go through the floor there for you. So I do have both of the other antennas a little bit lower, and that allows me to hide all of my wires kind of to the best I can. And as you can see, everything is working properly for us. Just a couple notes to finish up, and that is, first, remember that anytime your receiver is on, it is draining your battery here. So I would really get your orientation set and know the direction you're heading, and then turn this off, as it has no bearing on where things are located in the ocean. It's just to guide you on what direction to steer your craft. The other thing to mention is the orientation of the raft in relation to your receiver. And to do this, you need to look directly at the receiver, and then this top line where it intersects with this vertical line is directly above the receiver screen, or directly in front of you at this point. So it doesn't matter which direction your raft is traveling. You need to think about this as the orientation compared to your raft where the receiver is facing. So for this example, we need to go kind of forward and off to the left. And to do that, we can look at our sail here, and we want to rotate it straight forward and then just a little off to the left here. And that should get us fairly close to the blue dot on our receiver. It doesn't really matter which direction it's traveling as far as the streamer flag. You just need to pay attention to the orientation on the screen itself. Don't forget to hit that subscribe button if you're enjoying this type of content, and a huge shout out to our Patreon members that support the work we do. Thank you from all of us here at Nocturne Gaming. If you would like to become a patron and get some added benefits, check out the link in the description. If you have any thoughts, comments, or questions, please leave them down below for me, and we'll see you next time.